The morning light filtered through the tall glass windows of Hissing's office, warm but painfully bright for Ryan. She sat on the couch near his desk, back straight out of habit rather than comfort. Fingers loosely intertwined in her lap. Every few seconds, a dull ache passed through her lower back, spreading like a slow burn down her legs. Her whole body felt heavy, tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. It was almost laughable. Of all days, today of all days, she has gotten her period. Wine had woken up that morning with cramps so sharp that she had to sit on the edge of the bed and breathe through them. She had taken medicine twice, drank water, even forced down the breakfast she didn't want. Nothing helped. Now she was here in Hisung's office, about to attend one of the most important meetings of the quarter. Hisung sat behind his desk, reviewing documents on his tablet, glasses perched low on his nose. He looked calm, composed, CEO mode fully activated, but his eyes flicked toward her far more than often he realized. You didn't finish your tea, he said casually without looking up. Wine blinked. He glanced at the cup on the small table beside her. It's still warm, drink it. She gave him a small smile and picked it up, taking a careful sip. Her movements were slower than usual. Shoulders tense, expression soft but strained. He soon noticed. He always did. You ate right? He asked. Yes. She replied quickly, too quickly. He finally looked up then, eyes narrowing slightly, not in suspicion but concern. What did you eat? She hesitated. Toast. Just toast? And fruit, she added almost defensively. He sighed quietly, standing from his chair and walking toward her. He stopped in front of the couch, crouching slightly so they were eye level. You are pale, he said gently. I am fine, she replied automatically. He hummed, unconvinced. You have been saying that since breakfast. Wine shifted the moment, making her wince before she could stop herself. Hissing caught it. His expression changed instantly. What's wrong? He asked, voice low. She hesitated. He had a meeting. Investors, board members, executive who barely tolerated delays. It's nothing. She tried again. He reached out, thumb brushing the back of her hand. Warm, grounding, wine. Her shoulders sagged. I got my period this morning, she admitted quietly. The cramps are just worse than usual. Understanding dawned on his face, immediately followed by guilt. Oh, he murmured. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You looked busy, she said softly, and the meeting is important. His jaw tightened, not at her, but at himself. Before he could say anything more, a note echoed through the office door. Sir, an employee card from outside. The board members have arrived. He straightened, professional mask slipping back into place, but his eyes stayed on her. All right, he said calmly. We will be there. He turned to Anne. Can you walk? She nodded, pushing herself from the couch. She adjusted her blazer, smoothed her skirt, and took a steady breath. I'm okay, she said again, more to reassure him than herself. They walked out together, his pace deliberately slower than usual. She wouldn't have to rush. Still, with every step, pain flared through her abdomen. The conference room was already full. Low murmurs, paper shuffling, chairs shifting as everyone stood when hissing at her. Vine took her seat beside him. Laptop open, notes prepared. That was her project, her presentation. She had worked weeks on it. The began. She had worked weeks on it. The meeting began smoothly. Numbers, forecast, questions answered confidently. Vine followed along, nodding, typing when needed. Then Vine, one of the executives said, smiling politely. Why don't you walk us through your proposal? She inhaled. That was it. She stood, hands gripping the edge of the table briefly for balance. The room blurred for half a second as a sharp cramp hit her unexpectedly. She took one step forward, then another. Her foot faltered. It was subtle, but he seemed to notice it. Before anyone could react, he was already standing. Are you okay? He asked, voice calm but eyes sharp with concern. Vine looked up at him, surprised. Her lips parted slightly. Yes, she murmured, just. She swallowed. The room was silent, all eyes on them now. Can we? She hesitated, embarrassed. Can we postpone my presentation? No second thought, no questions. He seemed turned to the room. We will discuss this in the next meeting, he said firmly. We are done for today. The executive blinked. But someone began. Thank you for your time. He continued, already gathering his documents. Meeting adjourned. placed a hand gently at Vian's back and guided her toward the door without another word. Outside the room, the moment the door closed, Vian exhaled shakily. I am sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. Hissing stopped walking and turned to her fully. Don't, he said softly. I will apologize for that. He brushed her hair behind her ear. You are more important than any meeting. Her eyes shimmered. In the car, he immediately shrugged off his coat and draped it over her shoulders. You are cold, he said. I am not. You are. He hesitated gently. She smiled weakly and leaned back into the seat. If you want to sleep, he added, starting the engine. Go ahead. She nodded, eyes already closing. A few minutes into the drive, he reached into the dashboard and pulled out something. Chocolate, her favorite. She blinked at it. You keep that here? He glanced at her. You always crave sweet when you're tired or in pain. Her heart softened. Back home, he helped her out of her shoes, guiding her toward the bed. Take a shower if you want, he said, or just change. I will be right here. She nodded and disappeared into the bathroom. When she came out wearing his oversized shirt and soft pajamas, she found him already changed, just trousers and a loose shirt, sleeves rolled up. She climbed onto the bed beside him and curled slightly. Do you need anything? He asked. She shook her head, then, after a pause, whispered, I want cuddles. His lips curved immediately. Is that so? He pulled her into his chest, one arm wrapping securely around her waist, the other resting over her head. She sighed, melting into him. Comfort CEO mode activated. He teased softly. She laughed weakly. You cancelled the meeting. I did cancel 1,000. He replied without hesitation. She looked up at him, eyes warm. Thank you. He kissed her forehead gently. Rest, I have got you. And for the first time that day, Vine felt the pain ease. Not because of medicine, but because she was exactly where she needed to be. Vine lay against Hissing's chest, his steady heartbeat grounding her more than anything else could. The room was quiet, for the distant hum of the outside city and the quiet, soft rhythm of his breathing. His hand moved slowly along her back, not rushing, not pressing, just there. A quiet presence. His thumb traced small, absent-minded circles, the way he always did when she wanted her to sleep. Is it still hurting? He asked softly. She nodded against him. A little, but it's better now. He lowered his head, lips brushing her hair. You should have stayed in bed today. She let out a small, tired laugh. You would have dragged me to the office anyway. I would have dragged the office to you. He corrected calmly. That made her smile. She shifted slightly, curling closer, knees tucking up instinctively. The movement made her flinch just for a second, but again he noticed. Without saying a word, he adjusted his position, pulling her legs gently over his, creating a cocoon of warmth around her. His palm settled over her lower back, warm and steady. Like this, he asked. She sighed, perfect. A few moments passed in silence. Then, very quietly, she said, everyone must think I am irresponsible. His things stiffened just slightly. He pulled back just enough to look at her face. Who? The board, the employees. They probably think I used you being my husband to escape responsibility. His expression softened, but there was something firm beneath it. Listen to me, he said, voice low but unwavering. You didn't escape anything. You spoke up when you were not okay. That's strength, that's not weakness. She looked unconvinced. He lifted her chin gently with his fingers. Ryan, you have handled meeting while sick, exhausted, half asleep, and still outperformed everyone in that room. One postponed presentation doesn't erase that. Her eyes filled, but she blinked it back. You didn't even ask me why, she whispered. I didn't need to, he replied. I trust you. That was what broke her. She buried her face in his chest, fingers clutching his shirt. I love you, she mumbled, voice muffled. His chest vibrated with a quiet chuckle. I know. She pulled back just enough to glare at him. You're supposed to say it back. I love you too, he said immediately, pressing a kiss to her temple. Obviously, she relaxed again, smiling. After a while, her stomach let out a very small, very betrayed sound. She froze, hissing, raised an eyebrow. Hungry? No, I don't want you to leave right now, she said too fast. He reached for the bedside drawer. Chocolate appeared. Her eyes widened. You didn't, I did, he said smugly. Emergency chocolate stash. Bedroom edition. She stared at him in disbelief. How many stashes do you have? He shrugged. Enough to keep my wife alive. She laughed, taking a small bite. Almost immediately, her shoulder eased. He watched her quietly, satisfaction in his eyes. Next time, he said, brushing her hair back, we cancel the meeting before you even stand up. She hummed sleepily. Boss abusing his power. Husband prioritizing his wife. He corrected. Her eyes fluttered closed, body growing heavier against his. He tightened his hold just a little, protective without being possessive. Sleep, he murmured. I will stay. And he did, long after her breathing evened out, long after the world outside kept moving. His strength remained there, holding her through the pain, through the quiet, through everything.